Smile, everyone. Good afternoon and good morning. This is Anna and Jim and Jennifer. Our show live with Jim and Anna. Welcome. We're happy to be here. So we are ready for your questions and answers. But before we begin, I wanted to introduce someone who you guys didn't have a chance to meet last time. Her name is Jennifer Michelle, and she has joined our team a couple of months ago, and wanted to you guys to see her face, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interactions with her coming up in the next few months. So Jennifer, do you want to say a couple of words, and then we'll get into the questions, and you're welcome to participate and comment as well. So it's not just Jim and Anna anymore. We have fresh blood on our team. So stir it up a little bit, will you?
Sure. Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Michelle, and I'm really excited to be working with both Jim, Anna, and Kathy. I have about 7 years of experience in the financial services industry. Most previously, I worked as a financial representative at Fidelity Investments. Before that, I worked at JP Morgan Chase. And before that, I worked at a credit union in New York. I joined MainStreet Financial Planning in June 2014 as an associate financial planner. In my current role, I'll be working directly with both Jim and Anna by collecting client data, preparing financial plans, and providing recommendations to help clients meet their goals and objectives. I look forward to working with everyone, and I'm happy to be joining MainStreet.
Yes, welcome, Jennifer. We're happy to have you on board. Everyone, please pay a very special attention. Our pilot, Jim Ledwick, is in charge today. So where are you taking us, Jim?
Well, I'm not at 30,000 feet, but I was last night, and I'm here in Santa Barbara, where it's going to be almost 90 degrees today.
Oh.
And so, that's a heat wave in Southern California, so it's going to be pretty warm, and I've got my shorts on. You can't see them, and that's good that you can't. But let's get to the questions, okay?
Okay. Before we get to the questions, I also wanted to point out that at the bottom of your screen, on the left-hand side, when you're watching this video on YouTube channel, there's a yellow box that says send in the questions. So while we're discussing the questions that we already have in the queue, if you have a question or two, we're going to be open to take those in a couple of minutes. So just a reminder, on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a button that you push where you can type a question. Okay? So let's go ahead and start the questions.
Well, Anna, how about I ask you a question first?
Okay, go ahead.
We've been advised of a substantial reduction of the taxi medallion cost in San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm considering selling it. I would receive about $200,000 net in proceeds. What's the best way to manage the proceeds? Should they be put in my Roth IRA or my 401k or some different kind of account?
Yes, good question. Sorry to hear that companies such as Uber or Lyft are taking such a huge market share. I am a user myself, and actually plan to use the service next week in New York. However, since you are going to be receiving the proceeds, the best way to approach it is to see first, do you have enough funds in your emergency fund, something that we will fund for short-term goals. If that particular bucket, we call them buckets, if that particular bucket has enough, then let's consider to see what's happening in your midterm bucket. And midterm bucket could be an investment account that you could set up at Vanguard or any other financial institution. However, if we're focusing on depositing these funds into an emergency fund, at least for right now, until we have further discussion, high yield online savings account will be a good idea. You will not be able to deposit these proceeds into your Roth IRA or your 401k. So that's not something to consider.
Why is that, Anna?
Sorry?
Why can't they put it into their Roth IRA or their 401k?
The reason being for this particular client is because she's not working. She does not have an earned income. And her husband, and so that's number one. Number two, their adjusted gross income for the family is beyond the limits where she can contribute to a Roth IRA, and we're talking about $200,000 net proceeds. So those are the two reasons that I would not suggest doing that.
Okay.
And since she's not employed, she doesn't have a 401k. So we'll scratch that for now. So we'll focus on either short-term emergency fund or midterm kind of an investment. And I was thinking, until I have further discussion with this client, that maybe Vanguard Star Fund would be a good place to start. It's one of the funds that we recommend to a lot of our clients and have in the past years, and it has a 60-40 asset allocation. So for 3 to 5 years kind of time horizon, that's an appropriate target.
For some people, but that's just an example, correct?
It is just an example.
We're not giving specific investment advice here.
This is not a specific investment advice. Just like I said, high yield online savings account is for very short-term kind of parking. Vanguard Star Fund is an example of something for more of a midterm kind of target. That is all I have.
Would you like another question, Anna?
No, why don't you take a turn now so that I can give you a chance. I know you're dying to speak. So let's see. Okay, how about this? My homeowner's insurance company is not renewing my policy because I've had 2 claims in the last couple of years. They also have our auto and umbrella policies. What should I do?
Well, the first thing you should do is call a local independent agent, someone that is recommended to you by a friend or a relative, someone who's already had experience with this agent, and either he or she can then shop the market for you. There are plenty of companies that will insure home, autos, and other personal property, even if you've had a claim in the past. Explaining why you've had the claim is what you're relying on the agent to do. So shopping the market with an independent agent would be the first step. The second step would be to call your financial advisor to see if they know of secondary market insurance companies available through other brokers that might be available too. And so in this case, that question came in. They did both number 1 and number 2. They started shopping on their own with an independent agent, and they also called yours truly, the financial advisor, to see what we might have in addition to that, and we've found a secondary market broker to deal with them. So that's the answer.
Okay, very good. Do you want another question, or you want to ask me?
Well, let's ask you. I received an increase in pay. This is obviously not me talking personally.
Oh, but don't you complain.
I wouldn't complain. It nets out, this is the question now, it nets out to $300 net per month, and our client says, I'm already maximizing my 401k, which is wonderful. What do I do with this increase in pay? Should I, number 1, just simply divert the $300 each pay period to our emergency fund? Or should I use it to pay down our credit card bill of about $12,000? Or should I be investing in taxable midterm account like you mentioned in the previous answer?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, congratulations on increase in pay. That's always exciting. The next step is to really figure out how to use the increased pay wisely. So thank you for asking the question. I do like your thinking. The sequence of your thinking is whether should we save it first in an emergency fund, then should we focus on paying off the credit card bill, or should we invest for the longer term? So again, just like in the previous question, I would like to focus on making sure that you have at least 3 or up to 6 months of emergency reserves. I have a feeling that the credit card bill of $12,000 didn't just come up unless there was a large purchase. But had you had an emergency fund of an appropriate amount, that could have been avoided. So my focus, I think, will be for right now is to make sure that we can have 3 months to start with and maybe work our way towards 6 months of emergency reserves. So allocating $300 net that you have in your increase in your pay towards emergency fund probably would be my #1 recommendation. An additional thought is I would recommend sitting down and look at your cash flow. What is going on and why is the credit card bill has grown so much and you haven't been able to pay it off? So doing a little budget and reviewing your cash flow, where are you spending your money? We frequently recommend mint.com pretty much to all of our clients, and so that's a tool that you can use passively, which can collect your spending in the background almost every night. You can get a pretty good idea where your dollars are going. So that would be something to do for a few months. If after doing this exercise with reviewing your cash flow and spending, you find a couple more $100 in your budget, then definitely apply it towards the credit card bill as well. And maybe you should consider not using the credit card if possible. So those are the recommendations. Focus on increasing and funding emergency fund, reviewing your cash flow to see where the spending is going, try to explore mint.com for passive tracking, and then see if there's any additional dollars that you can devote to paying off the debt. And then we can talk next time when the credit card bill is off. We can talk about maybe investing for the midterm or long term. What do you think, Jim?
I think those are excellent suggestions. You might also be looking around for a 0% credit card 1-year balance transfer so we can eliminate the interest expense. Some of those, if you have good credit, some of those opportunities are still available. Not as much as they used to be, but they are still available.
That's true, but there's 0% interest for a year, but typically there's a little bit of a fees up front. 3%, I think, 3 to 5%.
No, I'm getting a 2% offer from Chase every month, and oops, I shouldn't mention a bank starting with C, and and I do the calculations. I don't have any long-term credit card debt, but I always am thinking of, well, if I borrowed $5,000 for 0%, that cost me 2 times 5 is 10. It cost me $100. What could I do with that $5,000? So that's just a curiosity thing, but I do think people should not just throw those offers in the wastebasket. First of all, they should shred them, but before they shred them, they should look and see if there's an interest rate reduction that they might obtain.
Something just also kind of occurred to me is that maybe there's a bit of a behavior change that needs to be thought about. Why is the credit card being used so frequently? We don't know the details. Maybe there has been a large purchase, so that's okay. But again, just thinking out loud. Okay, we just want to make sure we stay within our timeline, and I don't see any questions that popped up yet. So why don't we jump on to the next one for Jim? So here we go. Okay. I have money for a kitchen remodel, but now it won't start for 6 months to a year. Where should I put the money to earn more than 0.05% in my current savings account?
Anna, this is, hopefully you'll agree, this is probably our most frequent question we're asked, is where to put short-term money to make any kind of a return. And it's very difficult in an era of very low interest rates, kept artificially low by our Federal Reserve. The really only good alternative right now for short-term money is in high-yield savings, and you basically have to deal with an online bank that doesn't have branches so they can afford to pay the depositors more money and not have to cover a big overhead. So there's about 3 or 4 banks online I usually find them by going to bankrate.com. Sometimes it's GE Capital Bank, Synchrony Bank, Ally Bank, Everbank. And each week it seems like they're jockeying for position. The last time I looked a few days ago, it was 0.9%, which is certainly better than 0.05, but it's not very good. But in most cases, that emergency money or that short-term money needs to be liquid because we're absolutely counting on it. We don't want to be risking a 5% loss or a 10% loss if we recommended a bond fund or an index fund that tracks preferred stock. Those things pay more, but there's a risk of loss in principal if interest rates go up unexpectedly. And I just heard a report yesterday that Merrill Lynch had said instead of the Fed raising rates in September of 2015, now common wisdom is they're going to probably raise it in June. So that is what colors my answer of saying just in high yield savings.
Okay, very good. Jennifer, anything you want to add? This is a chance to say something. Should we? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, I think we've reached our maximum time, Anna.
Okay.
You think we should wrap it up?
I think we should wrap it up. It's about 17 minutes. We do have some questions. I guess we should save them for the next time. Yes, let's wrap it up. Okay, it was good discussion again. I'm welcoming Jen to our team, and so we should have more interactions in the coming months. And again, looking forward to receiving your questions. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back next month.
See you,
Ciao.
everybody.
Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.